Okay, well, thank you everybody for sticking around after a long day. Promise we won't keep you tonight. I think it's scheduled for 1 hour, but we're not going to do 1 hour because we all want a break. Okay, so Noyantis, we've been around for a while. We're touching 11, 12 years now as a third-party vendor. A lot longer with Clarion, and that's a good thing in my opinion. Everyone thinks Noyantis is we make your apps look prettier, and we do. They look good. They look very good. But they also add functionality. So that's the key thing. Your app's got to do its job, but it can look good, and we can give good functionality, additional functionality to your users. So we always try and do that. But we're not just that now. We've moved into other arenas, and I would say probably 1 year, maybe 18 months ago, we moved into communications and API work. And there's probably about maybe 20% of our working week is spent on API work. And my natural default stance on that will be, let's add it to our libraries, which then come out to you guys. So for example, we get asked, can you add an interface into QuickBooks Online Accounting or Xero Online Accounting or MYOB or Google Calendar? And of course, we're not going to turn work down, so we do it, but we do it in such a way where we add it to our tool sets. And then them tool sets get enhanced, they get tested in the field, and then they come out to you guys. So we moved into a few arenas now, to be fair. So we've got the UI, we've got the comms, and yeah, we've got quite a bit in between, to be fair. Tonight, we're going to do it slightly bit different. Yes, I'm going to show you some of the controls. I'm not going to go into each particular one because we've got demos on the websites and you've seen them in the past, and I'm more than happy to come by the third-party stand and I'll take you through the actual individuals one-on-one. So I'm going to show you a couple of apps, one of our training apps, one of our data mining examples which come with the templates. So I'm going to show you those. I'm going to show you some API work, again at a very high level, but all of the work is done at really easy level. You know, we can get you connected to QuickBooks or Google Calendar, and you should be able to connect, download, modify, and upload, say, a Google event in, depending on how many properties you change on your Google event, minimum of 4 lines of code, and if you set 6 properties, it's going to be 10 lines of code. But that's the approach we always use. We want it to be as simple as possible for you. Then we thought we'd throw a curveball, and there's no rehearsal, no nothing. This could go good, it could go really bad. I thought I'd bring one of the customers. I work with Paul quite a lot. This is Paul Epner from
Foundation Medical.
Thank you. I knew that, but I'd like him to introduce himself. This is Paul Epner. Yes, we work on a couple of projects. He also works on his own projects, of course. So you're going to hear from a customer's perspective rather than just me stand up here. And I think we'll do that first. So this could go really good, and you'll stick around for my bit, or it could go really bad, and you'll all leave, and means you don't get entered into the prize draw, of course. We've got some prizes to give away, obviously, because that's why that's what you should do. And we've got some for online, you know. Obviously not physical, you're going to be more download online, but that's the only way we could work it. So I'm going to give you over to Paul first, and I shall be back in, 10 minutes, give or take?
Something like that. So first of all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone in Clarion land out there, and especially to the people that hung around for the extra time this evening. I thought instead of a regular presentation on the toolkits and what I call, since we're in Disney, Andy's toys, I'd show you and bare my soul a little bit, because I truly believe I'm like one of the worst programmers in this room. I'm terrible at it, but I have managed to keep customers putting their trust in me for 25 years now. I don't know quite how that happens, but I have, up until the last year or two, delivered completely generic Clarion solutions to them. And it started to get a little bit old. People started to look around at other vendors and things like that. And so I felt we had to re-energize or at least re-engineer our software a little bit to make it look more up to date. So I'm starting out with what I call the toy story since we're in Disney. I'm a Mickey Mouse programmer, so I've got the ears. And these are my applications. They kind of look like that. I tend to be very reactive to fixing the problem that comes up, at 8 in the morning on Monday morning, and being a small business and being very reactive, things get patched and put on top of each other and not exactly the way that you would ideally do them. So I contacted Andy, I bought his toolkit, and what I want to show you here is a little bit of a before and after of how horrible my applications look before, and then what we did to transform them to an after. And I thought it'd be a little more realistic. So I'm going to bare my soul to you and show you an appointment scheduler that has been running for our medical clients for about the last 15 years. Oops. So that's pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the main screen of the appointment schedule that we were running. The user would come in, they would pick the individual user that they were scheduling for, and we'd present them a calendar that gave them a list of all the appointments that were coming in that day, and a rough weekly view so they could look at the schedule over the period of a week and book appointments into that. So the problem comes in when they have more than one provider, though. So if I now grab Marco Polo and schedule him, the users got very good at stacking these windows so they could see and flip between the different providers that they were scheduling for. So this is an actual app. It pretty much sucks, okay? I'll be the first to admit it, but it got the job done. I took this problem to Andy after seeing his calendar templates and said, how can we make it better? And the result is a new scheduler that we've been working on. And instead of that interface, we've got something that looks a lot more modern. So I've got a nice screen when it presents. Instead of that ugly pick a different provider appointment system out here, we've got a very nice calendar that comes up. Things are well marked, well labeled, and it's easy for them to book appointments into this product. The users loved it. It solved a problem for us in terms of us looking more modern. Now there's still the same code behind a lot of this that happened in C6. All my reports I brought through, and they're running the same reports and schedules that they've seen before. I've not done anything other than change the look and feel of the application, but we feel better about showing it to users. We feel better about demoing the product, and it just makes us look, hopefully, a little better. We also have a manufacturing product that we've been supporting for about 20 years. And it's a job shop system for custom manufacturers. Oops, let me get in there. And again, look and feel, and I've got some issues with resolution here given the presentation here, but very old style. All of my tasks that someone would do shows up in a typical Clarion drop-down menu. Those would change based on the security they had and all that sort of thing. But the problem that we were having is that because of this menu top-down driven approach, users weren't being notified of things that were going on within the system. There was no easy way for them to get to the information quickly that they wanted to see on a daily basis. So if an engineer got assigned a task to do For example, they had to dig into the engineering system and then go look at their tasks and print a report or whatever. And we did send them emails, which was cool, but everybody ended up, you see them once and then you put them in your deleted files or whatever, and it just wasn't a good process. So again, the functions and features here all work specific to what a custom manufacturer needs, but in looking at it with a fresh pair of eyes, we were able to clean up the way the system looks and feels. These are things that I could never do as a programmer, to be honest with you. I'd be spending days, weeks, months trying to figure out how to make something like that show up given my current lack of skills. So it's the same program. Everything in the system is working the same way, depending on their security and things like that. The bars on the left configure to what we've allowed them to see. We've got jumping off icons here for common tasks like looking up items or entering their time and things. But then you start getting into a little bit more customization that we could never offer before. Those tasks, like I was alluding to, now show up on their system when they first log in at the beginning of the day. And I just double click this and I'm sitting at a regular Clarion form that they use to say, okay, now I'm 50% complete with that task. Don't know if I'll be able to save it because of getting to the button on the bottom, but you get the idea. So that's all a big dramatic impact in terms of how our users feel about using the software. And it's all because I learned to play with Andy's toys. Some cool things is that the individual users can customize their screens such that if they want to rearrange their windows, these are all dockable, slidable panels. They can change this around however they want to. And there's even additional features where they can go in and sort these things. So if I say that I want this to be a grouped item, I can now go in and say sort this by priority. And if I can handle the mouse right.
Professional.
Yeah. And let's see. Oh, I can't see it on the screen. Let me see if I can scroll over. Okay. So I now have, if I switch this around, things that are low priority, things that are normal priority, and then as I go farther along, the urgent things. So again, these are things that the users find very helpful, and we're providing functionality to them that I couldn't have done without using the tools that I came across in buying Andy's software. So I just wanted to share how transformative it has been from us. From our perspective, it's made us feel like we're programming in the 20th century, finally, maybe even the 21st a little bit. And the user satisfaction has gone up quite a bit just by having a better interface, something that they're much more happy about using when they sign in at the beginning of the day. So I just wanted to show you some disasters and what we've done to remedy the problem doing this kind of thing, and I'm happy to show anybody the things that are behind all of this. It's very little code. It's a lot of just plugging in different template options here. So I wanted to just share our story because it's a real life story, and give you guys some perspective on how Andy's tools and toys have made a difference for us.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I get the HDMI?
Yep.
Well, thanks, Paul. Genuinely, obviously I've seen the application because I've helped him with some of the previous work. Okay, apparently I've got to speak a little slower, so make sure you can all understand me. I promise I will do. Okay, yes, I've seen some of Paul's applications, but I didn't know what he was going to say. I prefer to have it that way. I say it can go good, can go bad. Paul's still a customer locally now, so that went well. Okay, just a quick show of hands. Who attended the training? Not necessarily our training, just who basically paid for training this week, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's cool. This is the training. Oh, that's okay. That's just a remote session to another machine. This is the training gap that you'll get with the step-by-steps to do it, and also the recordings to hear me drone on how to do it. I'll quickly mention some of the technologies that are being used, but we don't want to go too much into it because we want to move on to other and bigger and better things. This is using a combination of the CodeJock controls. I think it uses some PDF plugins, and it uses our Chillcat. So I'm going to leave this open to demonstrate some of the comms afterwards, but we've just mentioned some of the technologies what's in here. We've gone a bit like Paul's navigation down the left. It's pretty typical nowadays. I'm not saying it's a be-all and end-all of a user interface, but it's quite common. You think of Outlook and akin, such things. We've just gone with that. You don't have to. Could be any kind of UI that you particularly need. So we've gone with it here. We're using the report control, which is a list. Think of it as a browse. Okay. We're using a report control here to present the data. We've got some grouping, but I'm not going to mention that in here because I'm going to show you a new enhancement, which is probably 2-week-old, something like that. We've got a HTML viewer at the bottom, so we can quickly show the user. It's a mock. It's a mock application, so it's not really real life. But of course, you've got a source code to this. So, well, the ones who have paid for the training, you've got a source code. So you're welcome to, take this as the template and knock it around accordingly, and use it as a template application for your own. And we've put some charts here and so on. And of course, you can, as Paul just did in his application, you can resize these and rearrange. If you want to give users that capability, you don't have to. Any settings we do in any of the things you see, template settings and so on, are merely just properties. They help you get the default entries into the class. After that, you can change any property you like at runtime. The likes of this rearranging and resizing, you can allow it, you can deny it. Maybe you're some users which you trust to do that kind of thing, and some you don't. You can put it at any kind of level, implement it at any kind of level you like, and you can save and restore these settings. So it's really, really personalized. And that means you give that capability to your users if you want to. Big enhancement, they're thinking they're getting a personalized system, and you're not really working for it. You're just turning some features on. So it's a win-win. They're thanking you, hopefully paying you, and you're not doing anything for it. So it's great. So we've got report control, we've got a navigation on the left. So these windows, this is actually a procedure running. This is a procedure running, the diary. This is a clarion procedure running. Oh no, sorry, no. At the bottom, they're just separate controls, the chart control, which we provide, HTML viewer, and a report control. All of that is hosted in one procedure called dashboard. You can pin down the navigation, pin it back out. We can go into other options like a diary. And we've got, is it on this one? Yes, thank you. You've got a diary, you've got a date picker, the calendar, as it is, the Calendar Pro from CodeJock. That supports so many facilities. Its scheduling capabilities are second to none, genuinely. And that's how Noyantis was actually conceived and born. Like Paul, I don't know when you decided to redo your calendar, but we also had, in a dental system, a practice management system, we had a calendar very similar to Paul's. Now we're going back 13, 14 years now. but it looked very similar to that. And we needed something. It weren't cutting it, but even back then it wasn't enough. So we needed to get something fresh, to get something modern. And we looked around, found a couple of controls which are still around today, but the Kojak control by far had the better options, and it's only got stronger since. So we did a template, well, we did a class, we hooked into it and so on. We found other people who wanted to use it, and here we are now, 11, 12 years later, providing them to yourselves. But so I've got the calendar to thank for basically creating Noyantis, if you will. It supports data binding to various different databases, but in its core form, it's actually dataless. You put the events in yourself, which means you could feed that data from anything you like. You could feed it from a SQL database, an Access file, a CSV file if you wanted to. Google Calendar, you could link it straight to your Google Calendar and have it bring straight from there, and actually don't store the data locally. It's data sources, whatever your data source is. We're not bothered. We give you the facilities and you put them in. You can link the data picker on the right, and we've give you these nice little overviews down at the bottom, so you can see most of a day. You can have multiple schedules and so on. And one of the nice things, I've got another example. You can take that data and put it straight into like a report control, but in Gantt chart mode. So now you could have your calendar view, but you could also have it in a track bar view, and be able to grab the appointment and go, that doesn't fit there, that's way too early. Pull it across and it'll change your calendar. And I think we did that 2017. So I've got the example. I've brushed the cobwebs off, and I'll show you that in a second. Promised I wouldn't go on too long, so I'm not going to. The rest of it, that's a type of the typical. We're going to come back to this application, so I'll leave it open. So let me show you. I've put no minimize. I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to close it then, aren't I? So let me show you. I'm going to sit down for this one. The report control, the list. So this is a recent change we've just done. And I mean, you can see the actual option there. We've got a report control. Again, data sources for this. It can be whatever you want it to be. So we just give you the methods and the groups and the queues and everything you expect, and you put it to whatever data source you need. So if it's coming from a CSV file, take it from a CSV. If it's coming from a raw data field, from an API, take it from a raw data field. We'll give you that. You can bind it directly to an ADO data source. So you can bypass the Clarion dictionary, you can bypass Clarion actually, and you go straight to an ADO data source, which is brilliant because we've actually proved the concept for one of the projects. We've hooked it straight into an ADO data source for using Unicode. So this supports Unicode, and if you use the edit in place, we've tested it in simplified Chinese. Yeah, we're viewing it, we're editing it, and so on. Good, powerful tool. And in this example, what we've done is, it's coming from a TPS table. So we've got some records loaded. And you can see we've got the grouping turned on by default, so we've got it grouped by period. So if we look at our first period, it's September 2019, and we've got some group totals. And we could say, okay, yeah, I need that broken, oh actually countries, I've got no data in that. I need that broken down by category. So yes, I want to see it by period, but I want it grouped also by category. So our totals obviously haven't changed for 2019, but now we've got consulting is one element of that, followed by hardware and software and support. And we can, obviously you can change your sort orders. We could break that down if we liked and say, okay, show me that. Again with the totals per salesperson within the category, within the period. Or let's switch it. Now we can see that salesperson, but where are they making their money? Where are they doing their sales? Is it broken more on consultancy and hardware? What we're doing at that point is giving all of the power across to the user. get the data into the report control as fast as possible, via whatever means, SQL, so on and so forth, doesn't matter. Get the data into the report control, and then give the whole power over to the user. They are then, all of a sudden, being able to sort, filter, group the data in their requirements. And of course, they can then save that. So you could, if we wanted to, I might even enhance the example for this, they could save, they could format it in one particular mode, give it me by category, and then within each month, and save that as basically a predefined format. Then they could rearrange, take some columns off, of course. So let's go, okay, we really don't need to know about the tax, but in this scenario, oh, I've not put it on this example. Let me bring that on. But basically, you can bring the columns on, bring the columns off, take the columns off, and save that. Save and restore it. So we could, in this example, give a little drop down at the bottom, predefined, which you ship with your application, and it's up to the user. They are then creating their own reporting structures. And we've done no code for it. In fact, the example you're looking at here takes its data from the TPS table. There's no code in it. We don't write one line of code. So this week, we're all here to learn and network and so on, and it's great. These events, I love them. But we've been looking at our code. My session yesterday was looking at code, which is great, but it shouldn't all be about code. We want to do maximum impact, positive impact changes to our applications, but we don't have to get our hands dirty too much for it. No offence, that's our job, that's our third-party jobs. You know, Bruce has probably spent years, not even months, years doing net talk, so that you can go and put a web server out there with within a few hours or a few days and so on and so forth. And that's because that's how it should be. Leave the work to us, pay your money relatively for the product, and then you benefit from your customers and the maximum impact. That's the idea, and that's what we're trying to get here. So there's no code for this. There can be, put as much code in as you want, but you just don't have to.
So for me, when I look at this application, it changes our reporting dynamic considerably, because I don't have to anticipate everything that the users want to see. I can take the tool here, and this, what's cool about this is that the subtotals happen with a check mark on his template. So if I want them to be able to subtotal, I just check it. If I don't, we leave it unchecked, but why wouldn't you let the user decide how they want to present the data? So we're currently developing an executive information system, just because I can do this kind of stuff now, that says, okay, here's my raw data, I'm consolidating it, I'm giving it to them in a chart or a graph. They can drill down, they can sort it, subtotal it, however they want to do that. And at the end of this, by the way, you can throw in a CapeSoft tool to export it to a spreadsheet. So the power that it gives you as a developer for checking off a box is just incredible to me.
Cheers, Paul. So yeah, that's the report control. It does lots of other. It does what you call an icon mode. About the easiest way, because all the demos of these are downloadable. Easiest way I can think of it is probably Dries' data grid yesterday. So a normal grid is vertical, and the data grid goes from left to right, and it's images, if you will, and it supports the icon view. So you could have a list of products. I think the example actually has because I like me motor racing and my cars and so on. The example actually has all the different marquees of the cars. So, okay, that's the report control. So I did promise you, one other little nice thing we've just added. You can chart the data. The charting of the CodeJock suite is fast, really, really, really fast, and fully customizable. So we put a bar chart up, but the user, I haven't put it on the example, could turn it into a line chart, an area chart, a bar chart, a pie chart, literally by one line of code. It's just a property. You've got your data in there, and then you just say, switch it to area, and you'll see an area chart. And the examples, again, include that. You can save the image, so if you want that charting data, get it to do all of the work, and put it to an image, so you can put it straight onto a report. So it's good for that. Getting the data into the charting, you can bind it directly to a Clarion list. Report control, that's the bit that's in dev, and it's only because it's going to take me a couple of hours to put that in. I just didn't have time before we come. Or a queue. So you put your data in a queue, which chances are you probably do from a reporting point of view anyway. Put your data in a queue and tell the chart to monitor the queue. If that queue ever changes, the chart paints itself again. So you no code. You're just working with what you're already working with. So that's the idea. Maximum impact, least amount of code. You can do inline filters. Added a little while ago, so we can see, okay, we've got a filter line appear. You can change the colouring and so on. And I'm going to say, let's just give me Exantes sales figures. Now we're looking at Exantes, and of course the chart changed itself. And there's no code for that either. So all this example you're looking at here, we're not writing any code. So if you look, you can see what's that tax, 1951, and we'll change it to BBC. Now it's 2033. So that's a quick, nice example.
That functionality is the sort of the feature, the baseline feature of what we're doing with the executive information system, because it's that dynamic, it's that responsive. You just load what you want into the table and then sit back and let the users decide what they want to see.
We'll quickly, because I know, Merle, I think it was yourself, mentioned what we demonstrated in the past. And for those who were here in the past, and you've probably seen, anyone remember the old school app? Which looks like this. So when Bob C said about some better examples, yeah, we could probably do some better examples. But this is a typical type app. And what we did, I think it was 2017, we took that and we Noyantisized it. There you go, new word. But yeah, now there was a bit of work to go into this. Merle, I'm not saying you have to do all that work, and besides which, you probably scare the hell out of your customers. So you wouldn't want to do too much at once. The minimum you could do to get maximum impact would add the skin framework. That applies, skins are Microsoft style files. Now, a full style file will change various attributes in Windows, your desktop, your start bar colorings, your toolbar, your taskbar colorings. Your application won't do that, it shouldn't do that, but it can take control of its own application. A CodeJock style file is nothing more than a Microsoft style file with all the dead wood filtered out. So you'll take all of the start menu colorings out of it. So we don't do, they ship some. And you can still use the published Microsoft style files, which are available many places on the web. And it will just apply. So you can say, I need my Windows background, my application Windows background to look like so. And we want to apply certain characteristics to our bars, our checkboxes, and so on. And the beauty of that, let's say you've got a multi-DLL application, 20 apps, 50 apps, 100 apps, doesn't matter. You add a global extension, tell it what CodeJock you're using. You add an extension to the application frame and tell it what style file you're using, and the entire application is skinned. So that's it. It doesn't matter, because the way it works is it takes the exe starts, applies the style file, and then takes charge of any child window that opens, including any system operating system window. So your print dialog, your save, your file dialog, the skin applies to them, because at that moment in time, they belong to your application. So any window that opens gets a style, and you do it, I don't know, 5, 6, 10, maybe 12 clicks and a bit of typing, depending on how long the file name is of your style. That's it, and you've got your application. So, Mill, you were saying, what could you do as a starting point to give your app a bit more of a fresher look? It would be something like that. I'd recommend the skin framework as a starting point. Then probably introduce maybe a new navigation system. Don't have to go down the style on the left, maybe just a fresher command bar on the top. Okay? So I would ease them into it gradually, besides which it makes your workload easier. The reason I came into here was it was Bill. Bill mentioned about tying a calendar to a report control. So we can see here we're looking at the 26th. Okay. So we've got our calendar. Got a load of characters in the body. I'm not quite sure why. Oh, I've got XAML turned on, but not. That's a bad example. Dries, don't shoot me for that. Sorry. It supports XAML. I've just wrong version. But what we've done here, we've got our schedule at the top, or our calendar. We're navigating it from the task panel on the right, the date picker on the right, and we're giving the user an alternative view of the report, a report control in track bar mode, Gantt mode, if you will, of those appointments. So of course we can change them here, as you would expect. Didn't repaint it, should have done, thank you. Or we can change them there. Really up to you. That's really quite powerful from a scheduling point of view. We use it, the calendar supports a recurring pattern, really powerful. You could put something in and say, okay, it's our office rent, our office lease. So it's going to be such an amount every month, forevermore, because you don't know an end date. You put that record into your, whatever your table you have, you put the record in, you apply it, and you give it a pattern. You say, this is monthly, or this is weekly, or it's the second Friday of every month. Doesn't matter. It supports all the combinations you would expect from a recurring point of view, and you just put one record in. And then you can take that data and plot it into a report control in TrackBar. So it's different views of that same data. It's quite powerful. If anyone wants a copy of the school app looking like that, by all means, I think it's probably, like I say, that is from CIDC 2017, but I'm happy to put it on a Dropbox share and send it out to anybody.
One of the challenges in working with Andy's systems is there are so many tools and so many options available within the tools. Learning everything is a process over time, for sure. And just when you start to think you've kind of got a handle on it, you get upgrades from the various providers. The Chilcat library is always expanding. The CodeJock library is always changing. So your software is evolving through the efforts of other people, which gives you more flexibility down the road as well. So I guess with that, maybe were you going to show a little Chilcat?
I was going to move on to some comms very quickly.
Yep.
And I'm not just being ignorant and checking my phone. I'm making sure I've got a Wi-Fi signal so I can show you a particular, just one of the facilities. Now, that's not going on Wi-Fi. That's great. Communications, for example, talking to Google Calendar or Google Tasks or your online accounting systems and so on and so forth. APIs, they are important. Really, really important in my opinion, because we can have the best desktop applications, but the world's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and your applications now do need to be talking to the external, the outside world. The customers will expect it. We all expect it. I bet we've all got phones here, and we're all probably checking Facebook or checking our messages, checking our calendar. It's all APIs. We depend on it, and so on. Your customers are going to do the same. So, but the only thing is, with communications is, it's not very pretty. It's just data going back and forth. So, this example isn't really to show the UI of it, it's to show the capability of it. Now, we use the Chilcat library, which is there. In fact, we're in the wrong resolution, that's how many parts there are to it. It's one DLL you purchase off them. I think it's about $280, something like that. And you get the ActiveX. Don't worry, ActiveX used to be a scary word, you can't use it. We support in all our products reg-free com, which means all the registration in Windows is taken care for you, and it's all done in like a temporary virtual mode. So you can run the application literally as a guest user. You could run it off a pen drive. You could take it into a hospital, which is definitely going to be clamped down from a security point of view. You just run it off a pen drive, and all of the ActiveX are taken care of because it doesn't affect the machine what it's running on. So it's literally equivalent of opening a Word document. You probably get more security issues opening the Word document than you would running one of the apps. So it's shipped as one file. You don't just get the ActiveX, you actually get the C libraries, the iOS libraries. You get quite a bit. They are so cheap for the power it gives you. And they split it across 96 separate base libraries. So it's one file, but in that is 96 elements. And they range from, well, let's just take a look there. You can see Amazon, various different Amazon libraries. You've got cryptography, you've got JSON, you've got XML, REST, HTTP, HTML, and email, OAuth 1, OAuth 2, the list goes on. Okay. Now, communications, you do have to get your hands dirty. For example, talking to Google. Talking to Google using something like a service account, you're going to touch on at least probably 7 of those separate libraries. And you have to do stuff in a certain order. You have to open the JSON file, what they'll give you as a security, and read it. Then you have to pass that on to another element, and pass it on to another element, and so on. And the list goes on and on and on. So what we've done, we give you the power to do all of that, because we don't know what you're going to go and talk to, and so on. So you can do, I say we do a lot of API work each week. And now, customers come to us though, can you interface into? I'm not blasé, I'll never go, yes, by default, I'll look at what they're saying, but I'm pretty confident at the library I've got beneath the surface to be able to say yes. So to help you on that, we create what you call task classes. So we consider them the base classes, 96 of them, and they're expanding all the time. And we've created task classes which sit on top, which make it easy for you to accomplish your job. So a task class in action is something like Google. We'll talk to Google. So we've got our service account. We're emulating a particular user. And I'm going to get a connect. Now that connect, like I said, I think from the memory, probably touches on 6, 7 base classes. You call one method. It's called connect, funnily enough, or connect calendar, because of course you've got other elements of Google. So we connect. That's it. We're done. It just comes back and says true or false. And if it's false, it populates a group structure to say why it couldn't connect. We want to download the calendar events. Got some from this week. So you've got a method called download events. We define, because obviously the API will give you the data back in a JSON structure, and it's got various different elements to that structure. Those structures, we match the actual structures in our class. So you will have an event group, and you'll have a queue made up of that group. So we press download, we'll do the download, we'll parse it, put it into the group and the queue, and then just pass you the queue back. You want to change it, so let's just change one of these. Should be actually, let's open. Probably better if we open it with Google, seeing we're talking to their calendar, in fairness. Can we go to yesterday? That's where my data was. Oh, they're Tuesday, okay. So we've got them, so we've got 3. Hopefully we've got 3 in there, which we have. I'm going to change that. What we've done at that point is just one method call to say download. I happen to have the ID of it because we've done a download of all the events earlier, but I've just done one method call to say download this event, and here's a group what I want you to populate with the data. So we've got our group. You would have this in your application, or maybe even what we do in our applications is tie this directly to the calendar. So they're looking at the calendar as you would expect to look at diary events. We move them around, and every move is echoed straight up to Google. And likewise, you change it up there, we scan it, and on that currently, because you might not have a web service, or you might not have a webhook for it to go onto. So we just poll it every so often. You've got facilities to make sure it's efficient, so only give me the changes, what's happened since the last time. But we're going to change this to what we're on today, the 26th. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll change that to the 26th. And then, so we've got our group. I'm just going to change 2 elements of the group and say upload. So we've got a connect, a download all, a download single, and an upload. And that's it. It's up in Google. It's that particular ID. Oh, that's not there. We're not showing it. It's like a revision, if you will. That revision will have changed. So we look at Google now. Yep, that's gone. And let's have a look at today. And there we are. It's changed. And that's as simple as we try and make it for you. You're going to probably interface into something that there isn't a task class for, so you're going to have to get your hands dirty. We made a promise in the training this week that, within reason, if there's something, a popular mainstream API that it would be great, like eBay, that's planned, interface into eBay. So let's take something else what isn't planned is straight away. Online shopping cart, maybe Magento, something like that, or Shopify. And you've got a cart and you say, okay, can you do that? We'll help you get it going in the short term and say, right, okay, this is the kind of structure. And the chill cat will actually take a curl example and give you the code example that you're going to be using. So it really is a kickstart. It's a copy and paste element to a degree. Really easy. And then what we'll do is, if it's a really popular interface, we'll put it on our dev list and say, okay, we'll create a task list out of that because others might get use out of it. So that's our approach. We've got other task classes. I'm not going to do them all. I'm not going to do most of them. We do a lot on the accounting front, if you will. So we've got the MYOB, which is an Australian, New Zealand accounting system. The essentials and the account right. Actually, the account right's just in dev at the moment, in fairness. You've got QuickBooks and you've got Xero. There's an SMS in there. It supports basically the principle behind that is it's just one interface. So you've got to connect. We go with the approach that you learn the interface once and use it for all of them. You've got to connect, you've got to send SMS, and you've got to disconnect. That's it. So we can test. So I'm going to connect, I'm going to send, I'm going to hopefully get a text. Thank you very much. Text, I don't know if you heard that. Believe me, I did. One quick one I want you to show, which is quite nice, is it's a system called D-Track. These are them. And what they do is, the idea behind these are you've got little commercial vans or maybe all the way up to lorries, logistics. But you could use this outside, you think outside the box, you could use this for anything. And what they do is they give you the first user free, because I asked them, what's your sandbox environment? There isn't one. Take the first user free and use it forever. It's not bad. So on this, what we'll do, we'll connect. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I wanted to go to the vehicles. So we'll download that vehicle, which happens to be this device, hence why I wanted the thing. Let's start that. You get the iOS, Android, so on and so forth. So I've got a delivery, which I did earlier, and that's on there. And I'm going to book a delivery. Oh, that's where we are now. We're Walt Disney World 1850. So for those who are paranoid, yeah, Big Brother will watch you. And it reports all the information back to you. Top speed that you've done in the vehicle, average speed, current speed, so on. So when your driver says, I can't make that delivery today, boss, I'm stuck in traffic, and you go, no, you're not. You're at home, and you've been there 2 hours. Let's take a delivery. One was today, and it's delivered. Going to insert another one. Okay, so that is pending. Wait for this to come through. There we go, in progress. So it matches that. So I'm going to say, okay, don't know if you can see, I'm going to say we've got it. Big AW for me. Oh, well, AQ doesn't matter. And maybe take a proof of delivery. Proof of delivery is you lot. Oops. Okie dokie. And then we'll confirm it. It says submitting. We'll give it a second. Not the fastest comms. There you go, delivered. Okay, so that's gone through. In your system, we might want to do okay. Download that again. There's our in progress. Now it's delivered, which is agreed, it is. And let's have a look at that signature. And there you go. And hopefully, we should have a picture of you lot. Roberto, I didn't see you do that. Oh. Excellent. Go to the top of the class. And last but not least, and then we'll get on to the goodies, which is what we all want. What? It was it's another interface which we did. We did it in raw mode, but we're going to do a task class for it. But even the interface is only a few lines of code. It's nothing crazy. And it was our training. Sticking with the likes of logistics, you've got some kind of order system, and you want to you want to send your parcels. Might be a box, might be a crate, might be a pallet, might be 10 pallets. Doesn't really matter. You've got something to go from A to B. There's a system called EasyPost. Don't know if anyone's heard of it. It's not bad. I'll just give you the heads up. It's not bad at all. Yeah, they support lots of couriers in lots of countries. And the way they work is you get an API account with them. I've got no affiliates to these, by the way. I'm just giving you what we found really good. You get an API key with them. If one of your customers has a special pricing structure with the likes of DHL, then you can put your account details in the DHL part, and all your personalised pricing will come through on that. So nobody loses out on any prearranged agreements. You can query their API, and it includes address validation as well, which is pretty nice. And you can query it, give it the dimensions of what you want to go from A to B, and it will give you the rates back. So let's say we've got an order. Okay, so there's an order, and we're going to say, oh, not there, delivery. I want a quote, please. It's going to take this. Now I'm using an English address because it was my test data from back at home. But of course, this is different countries, so it's no problem. And part of the API when you send the data is customs declarations, so it's no problem on international. And we can see there, oh yeah, they can take that on a 48-hour service, 2-day service. They'll do it for £20.64. Yeah, we'll take that. Up until that point, all our rates and so on, no charges. And then I think, you'd have to check, but I think when you purchase it via them, they charge you something like 1 cent per label. And that's it. That's their cut of the deal, if you will. Check the pricing, but it's silly, something like that. It's like 1 cent or 2 cents for every label. So you're giving one really, really nice interface into parcel line deliveries into your system for very, very simple. So we'll buy that.
And you should charge your customers $1 per label, I mean.
That'd be up to yourselves. So we've now purchased that. Don't worry, it's on a test account. Oh, I've got the PDF on this. The PDF viewer, but basically the label's downloaded. I can look in the folder. So the label's downloaded. You print it, you stick it, and you wait for the person to knock on the door and take the parcel off you. That's it. You've got an API to go and query. Can you see where it is? Has it been delivered? Proof of delivery, so on and so forth. But what I'm doing there, I'm not plugging them, I'm just giving you the examples of the Chillcat in action as well. And all that's done via the libraries, combination of base classes, task classes, so on and so forth. That's really it. Yeah, in fact, we are way over, so that is. Any questions before we do a draw? No? Cool. Okay. So, oh, I know why that was. That's not the example I was supposed to show you. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so what we wanted to do is, we're not going to do rock, paper, scissors, because I'm not that creative, I'll be honest with you. So we're just going to do a random number. I've got somewhere, I've got a list of the attendees in attendance and online. Of course, you have to be here now, so let's take a quick look. And we're just going to basically use a random number and draw it out of that. So I've taken this off CIDC 2019. There's all your lists. Should be what, 100? 100. We have a random number generator, yeah. So we want it between 1 and 100. The prizes, they're not in any order, they're all, let's go Echo Dot, okay? We've got so many of these at home. So many. Okay, between 1 and 100. And this is, so who's here? 57. So line 57, let's go to 57. Marco, he's not here. No? You all live again. Okay. 41. You know, the only problem with this is we could be here all night with this. Jeffrey. Okay, excellent, okay. Got an Echo Dot. Yeah, sorry. Once you've got your presents, your prizes, I do need to tell you the discounts we've got on. It'll only take a minute, but I do need to tell you. So next, what's next? Fire. Can't tell Amazon got some of the money this time, can you? 83. Feel like a bingo caller. Whoa, 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 whoa. 83. Scott Ripley, Scott? Excellent. See, it was worth listening to me waffling. Last but not least, Echo Show. You're lucky, you know. I got the prizes through the business, but I ain't got one of these yet. So it's lucky it made it out here. Where are we? So, 52. Lou Cindy Ramsey. No. $12. Bruce. Bruce Nutter. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, and then we need the online, just to keep it fair. So the gift for online is going to be a download of one of our single wrapper templates, not a suite, okay? But it's going to be yeah, basically, John, have we got many online? Can you tell? Okay, so that's the online attendees. So how we're going to work this is they have to, have they got the capabilities to raise a hand or make us aware? Right in the chat. Okay, so online with the cameras. Okay, so yeah. Well, while we're waiting for the delay, I'll tell you how it works. So okay, so between 1 and
17.
No, we're going to include all the attendees. I think it's 52 online, yeah. 52, so 1 and 52. Number 17. So online, Don Edwards. Brilliant. So you've got a single wrapper template of your choice. Just get in touch, sales@noyantis.com, and we'll create you an account and give you a download of Yeah, a wrapper. Well, let me show you the website first. But thank you. Thank you to Don. Okay, very recently, really to make it easier for coupon codes, I'll be honest with you, we put a new website together. It's not finished, but it's there. But we've had some questions of people saying about how do I get back to my old portal for my downloads and so on, and how do I purchase from the new store? So you've got a couple of links. One is the portal, one is the store. The portal will take you to the login page, very similar to your existing the previous portal. These two will be combined. It was literally timing. But that's the existing portal. The store will take you to our online store. And you've got coupons. So let's just choose something, hypothetically example. Go to the Kojak bundle. Purchase options. We'll go for the full bundle. So it's $498 in dollars. Yeah, that's that. Single. And we'll put that in the cart. At the moment, I wouldn't worry about creating an account on it because we're going to try and tie the two together. So just put a note in the actual order and do obviously us at the third party, of course, or just put a note, but check out with guest. You can create an account in there, and I'll make sure that they are tied up. But don't worry if if it's too much, you run into any problems or anything. So we've got that. So if you're purchasing a brand new product, or multiples of, feel free, not limited to one. If you're purchasing a new product, you will have a discount code of CIDC-25, and that will give you a 25% discount off. Which is not a bad saving. It's going to bring that down to... it's got tax. Sorry, that's a... We'll choose, because we want to take the tax off it. Choose somewhere, there you go. We're in Florida, yeah. So yeah, your 498 all of a sudden comes out at 373.50. That's quite a saving, I think. Combine that with you can get a 30% saving off the Kojak controls by using the discount code Clarion, which hopefully you can remember. It makes it a really pretty good saving. If you've got an active maintenance plan and you want to renew, well, actually, let's jump one. So that's for new purchasers. Anyone who's really out of date and if they like what they see and they think, oh yeah, I'll come back up to date. You don't have to necessarily bring your Kojak up to date. Some of the features have been in there for a while. Bring your templates up to date. They'll work with the old controls. They work going back to version 11, really old. You can use the discount code of lapsed. Okay. And that basically that will take it back to a regular renewal. So you don't have to worry about, because normally there's a surcharge. We have a lot of users, which is perfectly fine in my opinion, who purchase them, they keep up to date a couple of years while they're doing their dev and so on, and then that's it, they're done, they're happy, and they don't renew for a few years. That's fine, I'd do the same, I've got no problem with that. And then they see some new tools, new toys as Paul has called, and they think, yeah, I need that now. And there's a little surcharge between an active renewal and a lapsed renewal. That's going to cancel it out and just take you back to the thing. And last but not least, because I don't know if it's like over in where you guys are, but in the UK it really annoys me that new purchasers get discounts to get them on board and old people to bring them back can get them. But people who are loyal don't get any kind of discount. And it's like, no, that's not fair. So what we've done, I can't remember what it is actually. Active 10, Active-10, and that'll take 10% off your active renewals. So it's just to try and keep it fair for everybody, so everybody gets something off. So that's really it. Thank you. I promised I won't keep you that long, and I have. So sorry about that. So thank you.
One last thing that Andy, I think, forgot to mention is that he is available on Mondays. I think it's at 10 or 11 Eastern Standard Time. He hosts a
weekly user webinar.
You can bring your problems to the webinar. He'll remote into your machine, help you through an issue. and that's invaluable. And the support has been excellent. So
and you
just
can
wanted to
sign
share
up
that
via
as well.
Clarion Live, of course, central place for anything like that. So yeah, you can register via Clarion Live or get in touch and we'll give you the link. And when I get around to updating the website, I'll put the link on there. Cheers.